You know that moment when someone says something that lands like a punch to the chest, and before the sting even fully registers, your mouth is already moving? It's not a big deal. 5 words. Automatic. Like a reflex you didn't know you had. You don't even choose to say it anymore, it just happens. The way you blink, the way you breathe, the way you've learned to make yourself smaller so others don't have to feel uncomfortable about hurting you. Your friend cancels on you for the 4th time this month. Not a big deal. Your partner forgets something that mattered to you. Not a big deal. Your coworker takes credit for your idea while you sit there watching it happen. Not a big deal. Except here's what psychologists have been quietly documenting for decades. Every time you say those words when you don't mean them, something inside you breaks a little. Not dramatically, not loudly. Just a tiny fracture that joins all the other tiny fractures you've been collecting since you learned that your feelings made people uncomfortable. Let me paint you a picture. There's this person I know. Let's call him James. James is the kind of guy everyone wants around. Funny, relaxed, never causes drama. The type who'd give you his last 20 quid and tell you not to stress about paying it back. Everyone describes him as so chill, so easygoing, nothing ever bothers him. I was at a pub with him last year, few pints in, I ask him straight. When's the last time you properly kicked off about something? Like actually got angry? He laughs, says he doesn't really do angry, says he's just not that type of person. But then something shifts in his face, goes quiet. He stares at his glass like it owes him money. He tells me about his brother. Borrowed $2,000 last year. Never paid it back. Never even mentioned it again. And when James brought it up once, his brother got defensive. Made James feel like he was being petty over nothing. So James dropped it. Told himself family's more important than money. Told himself it's not a big deal. But here's what James also told me that night. He hasn't slept properly in months. Gets these headaches that come from nowhere. Started snapping at his girlfriend over stupid stuff. Can't figure out why he feels so hollow all the time. I could see it. That thing underneath. That exhaustion that comes from carrying weight you keep pretending doesn't exist. James isn't easygoing. James is drowning. He just learned to drown quietly so nobody would feel awkward watching. Here's what nobody tells you about people who constantly say it's not a big deal. Their brain literally operates on a different frequency. Not broken, trained. Trained by necessity to become this smooth, accommodating, never too much version of themselves that keeps everyone comfortable except them. According to research from the University of Texas, people who habitually suppress emotional responses show decreased activity in brain regions associated with emotional awareness. In other words, your brain actually starts to forget how to recognize your own feelings when you've spent years telling it. Those feelings don't matter. You're not becoming more mature, you're becoming a stranger to yourself. But here's where it gets psychologically interesting and honestly a bit heartbreaking. People who minimize their pain aren't running away from feelings. They're running towards safety. At some point, probably way too early, they learned that expressing hurt came with consequences. Maybe tears got you labeled as dramatic. Maybe anger got you the silent treatment. Maybe simply having needs made you a problem to be managed rather than a person to be loved. So you adapted. You became low maintenance. You became the one who doesn't mind where we eat, doesn't mind staying late, doesn't mind being the last priority. You shrank your needs until they fit in a box so small, even you forgot where you put it. And now you're an adult walking around with decades of swallowed pain, wondering why your chest always feels tight, why you can't sleep, why you feel resentful toward people who have no idea they've even hurt you. Because you never told them, you just smiled and said it's not a big deal. Here's something that'll mess with you. The same people who minimize everything often become the most perceptive people you'll ever meet. They can spot pain in others from across the room because they've memorized that language fluently. A slight shift in tone, a forced smile, a laugh that doesn't reach the eyes. They notice because they've lived it. They've performed fine so many times they can recognize the performance in everyone else. But that same perceptiveness that makes them incredible friends makes them terrible advocates for themselves. They'll show up for you at 3 a.m. without hesitation. Ask them to admit their own needs? But suddenly they're busier than a one-armed juggler at a circus. And here's the paradox nobody warns you about. They're simultaneously the most easygoing and the most resentful people in the room. They've said yes so many times when they meant no that the unexpressed anger has nowhere to go. It doesn't disappear. It migrates, settles into their shoulders, their jaw. That spot between their eyebrows that's always tense. It shows up as that weird sadness on Sunday nights. That irritation when someone chews too loud. That sudden urge to cry during a random song on the radio. You're not losing your mind. You're finally feeling what you refuse to feel in the moment. Your body is doing the accounting your mouth refused to do. Now here's where most people will tell you to start setting boundaries. Start saying no. Start confronting everyone who ever wronged you. That's not where this begins. It begins in silence. With you. Alone. The next time something happens and you feel that familiar sting, I want you to do something radical. Nothing. Don't react outwardly. Don't shrug it off. Don't immediately label it. Just freeze for 5 seconds and ask yourself one question. What am I actually feeling right now? Not what should I feel? Not what's the appropriate response? Not what would a chill person feel? What are you feeling? Right now, in your body. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's sadness, maybe it's embarrassment, maybe it's a cocktail of things you can't even name yet. Whatever it is, don't go anywhere. Just notice it. Like watching weather pass through, you don't have to do anything about it yet. Just stop pretending it's not raining when you're standing in a storm. That's step 1. Recognition. Sounds simple. It's brutally hard when you've spent your whole life running from your own internal weather. Step 2 is stranger. Write it down, not for anyone else. Just for you. A notes app, a scrap of paper. Write exactly what happened and exactly how it made you feel. Marcus made a joke about my weight in front of everyone. Everyone laughed. I laughed too. But actually I felt humiliated. I felt small. I felt like I wanted to disappear. No one ever has to see this. The point isn't to build a case against people. The point is to build a record of your own reality, to prove to yourself that these things happened, that they mattered, because right now part of your brain is constantly gaslighting you, telling you that you're overreacting, that it wasn't that serious, that you should just get over it. The written record fights back. It says, no, this was real and I'm allowed to feel this way. Step 3 is where things actually shift. Pick one thing, just one, something small, and tell someone. Not an accusation, not a confrontation, just honesty. Hey, when you said that thing yesterday, it actually bothered me a bit. That's it. No drama, no ultimatum, just truth. Watch what happens. Some people will apologize immediately. They genuinely didn't know. They'll want to make it right. Those are your people. Others will get defensive. Will make you feel crazy for bringing it up. Will tell you you're being too sensitive. And there's your answer. There's the sorting. There's the universe showing you who actually values you and who just valued your silence. But here's something rarely acknowledged that might break your heart a little. There's a grief underneath all of this, not grief for a person, grief for a version of yourself. They grieve the version who could just say that hurt me without rehearsing it 17 times first. The version who trusted that their feelings wouldn't be used against them. The version who didn't automatically assume their needs were an inconvenience. They grieve the self that felt light. The self that didn't calculate every emotional risk before speaking. The self that existed before they learned that being easy was the price of being loved. How do you explain that you're homesick for a place that only existed inside your own chest? This grief doesn't break them, and it shapes them. It makes them quieter, more observant, more intentional. It turns them into someone who cherishes peace because they know the cost of chaos. Someone who values safe people because unsafe ones taught them exactly how much it hurts. And maybe that's the real psychology here. People who say it's not a big deal when it absolutely is aren't weak. They've developed a complex, nuanced understanding of what it means to protect yourself in a world that didn't always protect you. Their silence became armor. Their accommodation became survival. And without even noticing, they became something rare. A lighthouse. Not because their life was gentle, but because they learned to navigate storms that would have broken others. A lighthouse doesn't shine because it's perfect. It shines because it remembers the darkness. So here's what I want from you right now. Go to the comments. Tell me one thing you've been pretending doesn't matter. One thing you swallowed and smiled through. One, it's not a big deal that actually cracked something inside you. Say it. Name it. Let it out of that box. Because the moment you admit something matters is the moment you start mattering to yourself again. And if this landed somewhere real, stick around. Next one, I'm getting into why you feel like you're performing your entire life. Why nothing feels authentic anymore. And how to find your way back to something that actually feels like you. That recognition you felt reading this? That sting of being seen? That's not weakness. That's your truth waking up after years of being told to stay quiet. And yeah, it is a big deal. You always were.